Good evening, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Tuesday, February 25th. And here we are. And yes, I have my stuff. Thank you very much for your patience. Last week I just had a day.
Brain fart.
Yeah, well, there was a lot going on, and I was a little bit under the weather. So leaving all of my supplies at the store really, I think, was just a sign that I was not meant to do Learning Live last week, and that's okay. We are here tonight to talk about shakers, shaky, shaky, wakey, wakey, and I thank you all for coming back after last week to craft with me. A little bit rainy, drizzly, icky out right now, so a great night to just be in front of your screen, crafting with me. Maybe you're working on your PhD program, maybe you're just watching, but we are going to have some fun tonight, some shaker fun.
Are we now?
We are. So here in front of me, I have some shaker bits. I've got a couple of colors from Pink and Main, and these have been selling exceptionally well. So we'll have to go back to Pink and Main and get some more and get some new colors and all that fun stuff. But we also have some of the smooth discs from Spellbinders as well. If you don't have shaker bits, you absolutely can make your own by just die cutting lots of little pieces, using your hole punch. I have seen people use shrink plastic to make their own shaker bits. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And with these shaker covers from Pink and Main, you will see that there is some flexibility, that you don't necessarily need things that are super, super flat. It helps, but we're going to show you a few different ways that you can use these shaker pouches. They come in a variety of sizes. In the store, we have 3 sizes. So we have this guy here. They call it the A2 small. And what this does is it makes a little shaker box or shaker element that fits on top of an A2 card, but does not cover the entire front. It is just kind of a subset, and you'll see when we get crafting what that is. Then I just got the straight A2 shaker. This is what is called an infinity type shaker. It's going to cover the entire front panel, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to incorporate that. And then mini slim cards have been really making a comeback. We've seen a number of them in our trade shows and on social media and that kind of thing. So we brought this one in as well. This one is 3.5 by 6. So it's going to be, I think when I measured my mini slim, it was 3.5 by 6.25. So it's going to be just that smidgen smaller than a mini slim card front. But again, we're going to do all the things. And I'm also going to show you how you can use these shaker pouches on a layout. These do not have to be just for card makers. They could be for your mini albums. They could be for your 2-page layouts. They can be for really anything that you are creating. Excuse me, Matt. Could you pass me my water, please? Thank you. All right. So without further ado, let's get into doing some crafting, and we'll talk a little bit about the shaker pouches as we go along. I think I'm going to start with an A2 small and show you how it sits nicely on top of an A2 card base. Pretty sure I grabbed some card bases. Yep, they're over here. For the most part tonight, I'm going to be using the Blossoms and Bees collection from Echo Park. I really, really love the brightness and the cheerfulness of this paper. Little touch of spring here and there. I also have the sticker sheet, so we'll be playing with that as well. Okay, so in each package there are 10 shaker pouches or shaker covers, however what they all call it. Yeah, they're all called shaker covers, so I'll try and remember to use that terminology. Let's get this baby open here. And I'm just going to pull one out. And this is what it looks like out of the package. So what you will see is that you've got this is a thick acetate piece. It's got 4 edges with the corners cut off. So that's so that you can fold it nicely and create a nice mitered corner that will keep all of your shaker bits in, not falling out, but also not creating an awful lot of bulk. As I'm holding it here, there is a little sticker here that says remove protective film. That is on each and every one. So that'll help us remember to do that. That's just a protective film that's on the outside. We want to do that before we wrap things. And these little strips down here, so the adhesive backing is on the back. So if you've got remove protective film facing up and you can read it properly, your adhesive backing should be on the back side. And you are ready to go. So I'm going to put this aside. What's that?
Oh, it looks dark on the screen here. But
yes, but I think that's my monitor.
I think it's your monitor, yeah. It looks okay on my phone. So.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I was just looking.
Just looking?
Yeah.
All right. So I've got my A2 card base here, and I have pulled some paper. So I've got some cardstock. Because this is going to be a functional element, you do want to have some heavier weight paper. And by heavier weight, I just mean heavier than your pattern paper. You could use your pattern paper if it's a good quality one, or say it's 49 in market, that's nice and thick. But I wanted to have just a little bit more foundation to what I'm working on. So I've got just a little piece of cardstock here. And then I've got some pattern paper and a cut apart. So this is going to go, this is not going to cover the whole thing. Looks like only a little bit's going to be shown. So I'm going to cut this blue paper down for my actual card to just cover the front of the card base. So that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Oh, my paper is going to be wiggly tonight, is it? Oh.
I was going to say, was that the camera or was that your paper?
No, it's my paper. Let me just tape this down so we're not fighting the wiggle. It's bad enough that we're shaking. Let's not fight the wiggle too. All right, so let's just good old yellow tape.
Cheryl's joining us from Florida, and she says it's not too hot down there right now, so we shouldn't be too jealous.
Well, Cheryl, please do bring back some sunshine when you come. So 4 1/4 here by 5 1/2. Keep my little scraps. And where'd it go? Left it on the trimmer. So we're just getting this card base ready for the shaker.
So are you using the full-size one or the smaller one? I missed that part.
The full-size what?
Shaker.
This one I'm using the smaller one. So this is the one that's going to have a little bit of a border. Okay. If I go back to my package here, the shaker itself is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. And they actually, if you keep your packaging and you read the instructions, I'm not sure if it's going to translate well on the camera here, but it says size your card panel to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So while this is 3 3/4 by 5, you want it just that little bit smaller so that the flaps can fold nicely. Again, I'm going to use some cardstock as my base. So 3 5/8. 5/8 is just one little tick bigger than 3 1/2. It's between 3 1/2 and 3 3/4. And then 4 7/8 is going to be just a little bit smaller than 5. So that's that. So this one, because I've got this, I'm going to do this to 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So 4 3/4 here. That means I'll have a little tiny bit of that spring green showing by 3 1/2. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect, perfect. And then I'm going to cut out my little cut apart here. And I'm just eyeballing it, but I know that these are 3x4. So if you wanted to measure, you could measure. Okay. So those are all my pieces. That's going to look like that. These will go into my scrap pile. And I'm simply going to put all of this together with my my tape runner, because you're going to have some shaker bits and you're going to have things that are moving around. This is one time where I might be a little bit more generous with my adhesive, because you don't want your paper lifting, and because you don't want the little shaker bits going underneath your paper. You could choose to use liquid glue instead if you prefer. And maybe that's what I will do on my little cut apart here. I'm going to grab my little inverted punch and do my corners. Let's do this side here. Just to give it a fancier look. And let's use some liquid glue this time, and I'm going to glue this all the way down. Getting all my edges. And right smack in the center. Okay. Now you really do want to make sure that you don't have any liquid glue kind of seeping out. This is where you might also want to take your powder tool and just go over the edges. If you can get the lid off. Make sure that the glue isn't sticky. All right, and now we are going to build our shaker pouch. So I've got the cardstock, I've got the pattern paper, I've got my sweet little sentiment. Back to this piece. So remove protective film. I think this will be the hardest part of this whole thing, because getting that film started can be tricky, but I just pulled a corner and then here we go. We're going to pull this all the way off. And that can just go in the trash. And what we're going to do is we're going to tuck this in here and we're going to wrap 3 sides. So we're going to do the left side. We're going to do the bottom.
Does it matter which side you leave open?
It doesn't matter. I would recommend one of the shorter ones, because it'll be a little bit easier to manage after the fact versus trying to do the long one and keep everything inside. But as long as you leave one side, because that's how we're going to dump our little shaker bits inside. Okay, I'm going to flip this face down. I'm going to use tweezers just because I want a little bit more control with my hands. So one backing. Come on. 2 backing. And then this bottom backing. Everything is face down right now. So this is now also going to go face down. And you want to center it as best you can. You will have a little bit of excess, but that's okay. So I'm going to fold one side, fold the bottom, and fold the other side. And if all goes well, that last one should fold over as well, but we still have the backing. So here's our little unit. You've got some give here, and let's do purple, gold. I think I'm going to do gold in this one. So this is where you might want to have a piece of printer paper, or if you've got a little triangle tray or something like that. Trying to be careful of the staples here. And I'm just going to pour a little bit into this tray.
So the two hardest parts of this is peeling off the backing and deciding what sequence to use.
And peeling the film off.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. 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 The sequins is probably, and you can mix and match. Now I've been quite generous with my little sequins here, but we wanted to have lots of sparkle and shine. Now that I've got my sequins in here, I can flip it back over. Ouch.
Stabbing yourself?
Yeah, so be careful. These backings can be sharp. Use your tweezers. And then fold it over.
It is plastic.
The backing is paper, though.
Oh, you probably stabbed yourself with the plastic.
So here we go. Here's our little shaker element. And if you knock it all down to the bottom, you're still going to see your sentiment. You can shaky, shaky, wakey, wakey.
You were very generous with this.
I was very generous because you want lots of fun. All right. And then now all I have to do is take this and attach it to my card base. Now, because it is a little bit heftier, and because people are going to be playing with it, I'm going to use my score tape on the back. It'll help with the fact that there's acetate. It'll help with the fact that it's heavier. And it'll help with the fact that it's going to get played with. Any questions so far, Matt?
No.
Nope. Everybody's watching. Use my tweezers, not my fingers. And make sure it's right side up on the front of your card. And there you have it. Now I could go in and got this little flower here, so I can now add some decoration on the outside.
A couple of comments about how easy this looks.
It's so super easy, other than when you get it underneath your fingernail.
Well,
so try not to do that.
Don't hurt yourself.
All right.
Are you sticking stuff on the outside of it now?
I am now sticking stickers on the outside of the acetate, just as an extra little something something. So at a very basic level, that is all you need to do to create your shaker pouch. It's that easy. And we're done. No. I'm just kidding.
Since when did you stop at one branch?
Just kidding.
I mean, you used it the way it's supposed to be used.
Yep. I
Now
used
what?
it. So, okay. So now what? Now what? All right. Let's now move up to the full panel.
Isn't it the same idea? Just
It is very much the same idea, but I'm also going to show you something a little bit different from a design standpoint. Again, I'm going to grab, this time I'm going to grab this orange cardstock. And this is where you would really just be designing things like you would a typical card front. I'm going to start. Now, what does it say here on this packaging?
so show them what package you're using again.
This one I'm using the larger A2, so it's the full 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Much like last time, we are going to cut our inside paper just 1/8 of an inch smaller.
I don't think you can read that. It's not
Okay. So it's going to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's just 1/8 of an inch smaller. So 5 3/8 is just a little bigger than 5 1/4, little bit smaller than 5 1/2. And then 4 1/8 obviously is just a little bit bigger than 4. So there's my base. From a design standpoint, I'm now going to use this orange, is this Argyle? I don't know. Diamond pattern. So I'm going to do this one at 5 1/4. by 4. So it's just that little bit smaller than the orange. Like so. And I'm going to change it up just a little bit. I'm going to take the toadstool paper and I'm going to run a strip down the middle. So I'm going to do it, let's do 2 3/4. And it's going to be the same height as the orange, which was 5 3/8. Just playing with some design. And lastly, I think I'm going to use this sentiment right in the middle.
Why do you pick the one that's hardest to get to?
Because it's orange. And because I want to. It's my project. Okay, so let's... This little guy, I believe, is 2 by 2. Yeah. So that's going to go in the middle. I think I'm going to take the orange and just give it a matte as well. So 2 1/8. 2 1/8. This is the fun part. Okay. So orange on orange. And remember, you want to go as close to the edges and get everything nice and sealed. So this has just got a slight border all the way around. This guy's going to go right down the center. So again, let's... And if I was just making a standard card without the shaker element, I may not use quite so much adhesive, but I do want this all nicely sealed. So that's 4. There's the half. Okay. And then I'm going to take this and mount that on that orange circle.
It's a lot of layers.
It is a lot of layers. And that's where these shaker pouches can be quite forgiving. Because I'm also going to do a thing. Where I'm going to pop up this center element. And you're like, what?
Isn't that gonna
what? Is it going to make it too thick?
Trap them?
Well, so we're going to be careful. We're going to just put our foam squares on the 4 corners. So there's still room for them to kind of flow through. Try to keep your backings on. And okay. Now, before you attach this on here, I'm going to take my powder tool and I'm going to go around all the sides of my foam squares. Because the sides, even though there's no, deliberate adhesive, the sides of your foam can be very sticky as well. And that's why I'm making sure that my backings are staying on. But this will help keep the sequins from sticking to the foam squares. Okay. And one last one. Okay. Now it smells good. Now I can peel those backings. Make sure it's right side up. I'm going to go a little bit towards the top third. I'm going to
go straight.
Okay, nice and straight there. All right, so my card element is ready. Let me grab my pocket, my cover.
It's handy that they put the measurements right on the package.
It is very handy and so that way, if you ever forget, it is right there. Now, if you happen to lose your packaging, you just want to go a little bit smaller. That's really all you have to remember. And that's why I always like to dry fit it first. So I'm going to do this. And if I fold all my edges in, kind of like your test drive, your trial run. And yes, everything's still going to fit. And it still gives you, you know, even with that dimensional element in there, it still gives you room to play. So now I come back. Let me peel that film if I can. There we go. Flip. Get your tweezers, not your fingers, because it hurts. All right, whoops. Two sides. And the bottom. Tuck it into place. Just try to make sure you don't get your paper stuck to the adhesive parts yet. All right. Come up a little bit and now fold. Fold.
Now you're committed.
Now you're committed. And if I test drive it, there we go. So, shaker bits, let's go blue this time. Got a few little gold ones still in there. Come on. There we go.
Oh, that's plenty.
All right. Pour. And close her up. There we go. And I really like these better than trying to use your own acetate, trying to use foam bits or foam strips, use the shaker domes, because with those ones, you want to make sure you don't sneeze. You want to make sure that everything gets tucked into the right spot. These ones, pretty darn straightforward. Okay, so what am I going to put here?
And then you just attach that to a card.
Yes, and then all we're going to do, I'll actually do that before I stickerify it. This is just going to attach right to your card front. And it is that infinity, so it's going edge to edge to edge. And because our paper is just that little bit smaller, you will see a bit of that white card base underneath. So if you don't like that, then make sure you've got a colored card base, or I mean, I think you probably could go full size, but then just make sure you've got clearance on all of your folds. That little bit smaller just gives you that flexibility to keep your pocket folding nicely.
So Donna's asking a good question.
Okay.
She wants to know, and I'm going to pop it up here.
Yep.
Once I find my mouse.
Yep.
How do you know how much shaker bits to put in? I always feel I chinch out. So she feels like she's cheaping out on them. I mean, versus what you've done, which is you put a lot in.
So I don't know that there is necessarily a right answer. It is to some degree a personal preference as to how full you want it. As I've shown with this one, you know, the fact that we've popped this center bit up, I don't think you could ever have too much. Well, I guess you could have too much, but if you're at all concerned, what I would say is, and we can talk this through on the next one, I can actually show it, but I would say put some in, fold over your flap, maybe don't peel the backing though, maybe just tack it down with some yellow tape.
Hold it with your fingers.
Yeah, but if you want to do this, you want to make sure. So I would say put some in, tack down your top flap, see how you like it. If you think you need more, open it up and put more in. If you think you've got too much, open it up and pour some out. Just because you put it in, it's not a one-shot deal. You can take multiple turns until you seal that top edge. So what I will say, and I'm not saying this just because I want you to have a beautiful full collection of shaker bits, there's a lot in these packages, so don't worry about running out. Go ahead and be generous, because I think we all find that more is more, and it's okay to put a bunch of stuff in there. It's also okay to mix and match. So I could have done blue and gold. So again, if you've only got little bits of a package, then go ahead and mix them. I hope that was a good answer. We'll do it on the next one where I'll do a little bit, then add a little bit more, and we'll see how that looks like. So there. And I really like that infinity look where it looks like it covers the whole panel. So to finish off, I'm going to add, where did he go? I saw him. Oh, there he is. Little blue snail. This little blue snail. And maybe a butterfly, a little green butterfly. And I need a third something.
There you go. That looks good.
How about a little bee? A little teeny tiny bee here. There we go. So there is card number 2. So we've had our first one, which I've now already oh, here it is here.
How did you lose it on your desk?
Yeah, it was under the paper trimmer. So here's number 1, which is the small version that fits as a nice little element on top of a card. Here is our second one, which is the full A2 panel, the infinity style. Now let's do a slimline. So this is the mini slim. The size of the pouch is 3.5 by 6. And again, when I measured my mini slim, I am 3.5, and I feel like this is 6.25. It is 6.25. But here's your cheat. Is the person receiving this actually going to measure? Heck no. So I'm going to take my slim and I'm going to cut it down to 6. Now I can do a full infinity panel of the mini slim. This also makes it easier because my pad is 6 by 6. So again, I can cover the whole base with my card and not have to worry about my paper not stretching. The other advantage is, especially with the Echo Park ones, there is a smidgen more. So if you had to go the full height, then you got that little bit of extra, but I've cut it down. So we're all good. All right, I'm going to do I have blue? I do have some blue. This is powder from Concord and Night. So my panel, I want to be 3 3/8 by 5 7/8.
So many numbers, so much math.
Well, that's why, again, math is never my strong suit. So having it all written out for you. So 5 7/8 is always helpful. By 3 3/8, 3 2/8, 3 3/8.
So while you're doing that, Joan put a nice comment up here.
Okay.
Saying that she loves how easy this is to do. She stopped making shaker cards because she would always make such a mess.
Yep. I agree 100%. I always worry about my foam strips not matching properly, the pieces going everywhere. This is absolutely foolproof. So 3 3/8, another one smaller would be 3 1/4 by 5 3/4. So 3 1/4 by 5 3/4. And that should perfect. Tape runner.
Kind of takes the fear factor out of
Yep.
making a shaker card.
It allows you to really focus on the pretty design. And the shaker bits really just add a beautiful element. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, oh, it's not going to be wide enough. Oh, maybe I'll just do a little strip here. Because I like these little raindrops. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
No singing. You don't want to get put in Facebook jail.
Oh, that's true. No Facebook jail. There's enough stuff going on with Facebook. All right, so rain's coming down on a jaunty angle. Making sure it's all the way around. And let's take this umbrella.
Put the stickers inside it this time?
This time I'm gonna, well, I might do both. Yeah, let's do that here. And we've got the rain cloud up here. I've got sunshine. Oh, that one's not cut in half.
Oops.
So I've got sunshine. There. Okay. So now let's do our shaker. I'm going to grab this mini slim. And just like all the rest, oops, I got two. There's the little sticker. So the sticker is facing up. We're going to dry fit it. Make sure all of our measurements are correct before we can't go back. Yep, that one's good. And
now it has that sticker on it that says remove. Are you supposed to peel it from that sticker?
I don't think so. It's too far in.
Oh, okay.
It's not like it would be nice if it was a tab, but it's not. Like I said, peeling the film I think is the hardest part of this whole thing.
I think the hardest part's still all the math.
You're funny. Okay, so flip it over. Flip it over. Nest it in. And fold. Oh, and look. So that's where you have to be careful that you got your other side down. Fold.
Are you showing people what not to do again?
No, it was just fun. Okay. So how much is enough? Let's do, I'm going to do some gold. And I'm just going to do a little bit this time.
See, Diane agrees with me. She thinks that cutting the paper to the right size would be the hardest challenge.
So if that is a challenge for you, what I would suggest is you, because it is quite small here on the packaging, take a great big Post-it note and write it out here so that you always have it with those shaker covers. And once you've done one or two, you'll get the rhythm. You'll get you're just going a little bit smaller than that big measurement. And you know what? It's like a haircut. You can always take more off. You just can't put it back on. So when in doubt, start with the actual size. And if it's not folding nicely, then trim it down a little bit. And, you know, it's only paper. Worst case, you have to take it apart and do another one. All right, so I'm going to put this little bit of gold in. And I think there was a blue one that was in there too.
Oops.
But when I fold it over, I'm going to take a piece of my yellow tape.
I don't even think you need to do that. But...
do as I say.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I look at that, I'm like, there's a little bit there. but I want more. I want more. So I can now.
Really what you're saying is it's a personal preference.
It absolutely is a personal preference. However, don't feel like it's a one and done. You can always add more. Until you seal that top pouch, you can always add more. So now I'm going to do the purple one. And again, it's starting to come together. Where did my tape go? My tape's up here. It is bunching up a little bit down here, so just give it a little tappity tap. And if it's still not coming unstuck, again, if you haven't sealed it yet, oops, you can go in if you have, so I'm just going to use a straw.
I wonder what it's stuck to.
I think it's just sometimes you get just a little bit, it's just a little bit too bunchy. So spread it out.
Uh-oh. Sequins are like glitter.
They are a little staticky.
They're getting everywhere.
And you know what? Here I'm going to go super daring.
Hey, now.
And at this point, I think I'm good. So let's seal her up.
I know how you decide. How much do you like the person you're giving the
Well,
cards to?
there could be that as well. So now I've got that whole thing all nice and sparkly and shakety. And I'm going to add one more sentiment here. Each day is a new possibility. That's going to go right here in the center. And now this can be attached to our base. So you can have so much fun with these guys. Your design limitations really are non-existent. Let's go this way. You can add paper. You could, if you have chipboard embellishments, you can use those. You know, with the chipboard embellishments, as long as they're not adhesive, you could always put chipboard embellishments in here as your shaker bits. You don't have to use the sequins. Like I said, you could make your own sequins out of, or shaker bits out of shrink plastic. You could just do die cuts. So if you are doing a lawn fawn shaker and you've got lots of extra little, like I've got all these little birdies and things like that left over from a lawn fawn project, those little birdies could be my shaker, bits
out of a shredder.
Well, a shredder is going to be strips, so I don't know that would.
No, not anymore. They're all small pieces.
Oh, are they? Yeah. Okay, well. And again, so this is an infinity card. It's going edge to edge. And there you have it. All right. I have one more thing to share with you. And I think I'm going to do a full-size A2 panel. However, I am going to do it on a layout. So I quickly, before the live tonight, put together this cute little one-page layout. And I have this picture deep in my archives of my kids on their bikes, which would go like that. But what if we made it into a shaker? So that is this one here. So it's going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That means I do have to trim my photo down just a little bit. Here's my pocket. So the measurement on this was 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'm going to do, I think oh no, let's do orange. Let's do orange because my page is orange. So this is going to do to the full panel, and then this is going to mat on top. So I need 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So 4. Well, let's check this way first. Yes, I've got enough. Okay, 4 1/8. 5 3/8. So, oh, don't get rid of this. And then this one I'm going to do 4, which it already is because it's a 4 by 6. But I need to trim it down to 5 1/4. So we'll just cut some of this grass off on the bottom.
No, that's the wrong one. There you go.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so once again, let's get it nice and flush, taped well down to my cardstock. Does this have a year on it? No, there's no year. I was wondering if I had a year. But there's no year on this. Okay, so that's going to get matted. And let's flip it and dry fit. Okay. Everything's going to fit nicely. Let's peel the film.
Not with your finger. Oh, sorry.
No, it's the backing that. Oh, it's sticking. It's sticking to me. Okay, flip it. Flip it. Scooch. All right, fold one. Fold 2. Fold the bottom. Come on. All right. And I think I'm going to stick with my gold because it's summertime and sunny days. I think that's a good amount. Let's get rid of this little corner bit that got stuck in there. But because it's a photo, I don't want too much in here. So this is one time where I might err a little bit on the lesser side. But again, personal preference. Don't be stingy. And there you go. Oops. So now I can take my layout here and I can attach that right onto the layout. Here's my tape.
How are you supposed to shake a layout?
Carefully. It's more about just that little bit of interaction. Even just turning the page is going to jostle the shaker bits just a little bit.
So Janet's asking, will the gems scratch the photo?
If you're using these flat sequins, they're pretty smooth and there's not a lot of sharp edges. So I personally wouldn't worry about if you use these flat sequins that it's going to scratch your photo. If you used more of a harder gem, so Matt, if there's that little pink fresh pouch in front of you there, if you were to use something that had sharper edges, more of a facet like a rhinestone or like a real dimensional gem like that, I might be a little bit more cautious. But these flat discs are pretty smooth. There's no sharp edges to them. And again, if you're worried about, you still want a shaker element, but you're worried about scratching, that's where I might do small die cuts just out of paper. Use your lawn fawn. I think lawn fawn and possibly spellbinders had dies that you can cut your own sequins, like faux sequins. So there we go. That's now on my page.
Up with that.
Yeah, okay. And then you know what? This is where I would then use some of these sequins as well to further embellish my page. So I've just put 3 little dots of glue on there. I'm going to pick up a gem or a sequin. And so this way you're mirroring, your embellishment on your page with the embellishment inside that shaker element. And
ta-da.
Ta-da.
Stickers.
Yeah, I've got the title. You know what? Oh, I know what I could do.
We got the idea.
I know what I'm going to do. I've got this border.
Can't see her off camera.
And there you go. So shaker elements, not just for cards. This, if you were doing a mini album, a shaker element like this would look amazing on your front cover.
Oh, that would work really nice on one of those small 6x8 albums.
On one of the small 6x8, or if you did more of a square, or you got your slimline. Think of it as an interactive element. Don't necessarily think of it just for card making. Don't think of it necessarily just for shakers. There's just a lot that you can do, and I've really just scratched the surface. But I think I've done my job in showing you how spectacularly simple it is. There's really very little that you can do that will mess this up, other than if you sealed it before you put your shaker bits in. And trust me, I can totally see myself doing that sometime. If you get moving along and you forget to put those shaker bits in, but that's where your tape is your friend, and maybe it's just shiny. Anyways, so that is that for tonight's Learning Live. Shaker covers from Pink and Maine. Dig into your shaker stash, see what you've got, find some cute paper. And like I said, these packs, there's 10 sleeves in each pack. So you could absolutely go to town, get this process down pat, and just have a lot of fun creating some fun interactive cards, elements, cover art for your albums, and just have fun. All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Take care.